right, guys. Thanks for sticking with us here on the first ever EXP Expo. We're going to bring in now Dr. Christy Blanch from All Yeah Comics in Muncie. There she is. She wasn't quite ready. I saw that jump. And we're going to let her introduce the people that she's got on her panel. This is All Yeah Comics.
Hey, hey. How is everybody today? Hey,
Hi.
looky here. There's Franco. There's Scoot.
What's going on?
We're waiting for one more.
Long time no see, Franco.
I know.
Can't hear you, Scoot. Oh, wait, maybe it's me. No, it's me.
Oh.
It was me.
Oh, okay.
Long time no see, Franco.
Ooh, lots of echoes. I love it. This is why I only go by one name, because they spelled my name wrong, even the one name that I did use. So
Lots of echoes.
Yes, there are. And make sure we're good.
I think so.
Is it echoing still?
Slightly, kind of, maybe.
Slightly, kind of, maybe. Kyle, we
I
good?
fixed it. I'm sorry, Franco.
Kyle.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it sounds good to me. I was busy. I was over there figuring out, realizing I spelled his name wrong and fixing it. So
That's right.
I'll let you guys. I'll let you guys do this. Art was here for a second and then he dipped out, but
That's what he
I'm
does.
sure he'll be back.
It's party. That's what we expect.
Yeah.
All right, have a good time.
Yeah.
Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to the All Yeah panel. I guess that's what we're calling them. I don't know. Gathering. Virtual gathering. We are here with artist and writer extraordinaire,
Scoot.
Franco.
Oh, me. Hi.
I'm getting to him. And I tell you what, Scoot, your art, you do your cartoon art, which is amazingly awesome, like your comic shop tales, all of that. But when you do other art, it's like looks so much like Darwin Cook. It just blows me out of the water.
Compliment.
I can't get enough of it. It's so good.
I truly despise and hate Scoot, because we actually did a show sort of last night where it's called Catching Up with Franco, where we talk about pop culture stuff, and in the span of about an hour and a half, I drew one vision picture, and Scoot drew like 6 pictures and colored them with crayons, and so I hate him.
It's for the people. It's all.
With that way that you draw.
Yeah, like this.
Yeah, like this. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
He
draws like that.
Yeah. and it's awesome. Well, anyway,
all you guys and be able to work with you guys because I'm better for it. So thank you.
Oh, you guys are sweet. How have you guys been holding up during this whole pandemic thing? Have you heard that that's happening?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't usually leave the house except to go to work, sort of, sometimes, unless they shut it down. But I like being at home. Is that weird?
No.
Weird. But
yeah, that's my friend C3PO back there. He's not doing too well.
He's seen better days.
Yeah.
It's been quarantined too long.
Yeah. That's quarantine guy back there.
Yeah, it's been interesting. The only thing that I really changes for me is conventions. I miss going to conventions. I thought at first, it'll be all right. And then I'm like, I really miss seeing my friends, So Baltimore hurt bad.
Yeah.
Because that's like my family there. And it was like, that one was tough. Because I see you there every year, Franco. And it's been interesting. But, and if you don't know out there, Franco teaches art. So that is where he leaves to go to work to do more art. Not art, Baltazar, art.
Yeah, no, that would be a completely different thing, and my wife would be upset, I think, as well.
Yeah. When you say you teach art, I do every day.
He works with art and he teaches art.
Yeah,
it's like artception.
Yeah.
Oh, like my shirt. It's catception. It's like a cat looking at a picture of his own cat. Yeah.
I have a cat on my shirt too. That's not a cat.
Ooh, it's the same. It's the same cat.
That's an action cat. Yeah.
Action cat. Yeah. People have been wanting more plushies. I got to get more of those. So projects that we're working on. I know you have a couple, Franco, that you and I have talked about. So what's going on with you right now?
Quite a bit. We just and I just had Art Baltazar and I, not me teaching Art. Art Baltazar and I just had Archimaniacs come out from DC Comics. Thank you. So it's only been out about a couple of weeks now, I think, or a year. I can't tell time anymore. But it's been out for a couple of weeks, and people seem to be digging it. I have 2 more projects coming up from DC that are in various stages of being worked on. I have other things I can't remember. I'm working on so many other things right now. There's properties out there. Are we working on something? We're working on something together, Scoot.
Yeah, Franco and I are working on a couple things, but this is the stress of there not being like a convention, because we're working on stuff, but we can't like share half the stuff because the publishers want to and make the announcements, but everything's being delayed because no conventions and everything else. So it's like we have all these projects piling up that we can't talk about.
Hi, puppers. It's good. It's
Sorry.
good.
Yeah.
Dogs are always good.
I'm in the studio. They're always in the studio with me.
I saw
we
Action Cat back there.
Yeah, we did do something. Art and I think we could talk about this. I don't care. We just sent to the printer Oh Yeah Comics issue 13, Oh Yeah Comics issue 14, and Oh Yeah Comics number 0. And they're all going to be shipped out to you guys relatively soon at the stores. And you can buy them from us online if you're outside of the store zones. So we'll have them in Skokie, we'll have them in Muncie, and we'll have them in New York. But if you want to get them from us, you should find a way to get them.
I think I have a short story or two in between
you have
those.
some?
Yeah, in those Oh Yeah Comics, I think I have some stuff in there.
That's you'll make so many people happy, because I have kids coming in going, okay, I need some more Oh Yeah, and I'm like, well, just gonna have to wait a minute.
Yeah, that's the other thing. The good thing about quarantining is that, like, I think if we were in a normal year going to conventions and working on different projects, I don't know that we would have gotten these out this year, or we wouldn't have gotten 3 out all at once.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And Scoot, besides your stuff in Oh Yeah and the stuff you're working on with Franco, tell us a little bit about what you're doing, because you keep pretty busy.
Yeah, I'm working on a few things right now. So I'm working on another book with Dave Scheid, who you may remember I collaborated with on Wrapped Up. And this is going to come out through Oni. And it's a graphic novel, 150 pages. Like Wrapped Up, it's got action, comedy, everything you'd expect from Wrapped Up, but it's a whole new story, a new world, and I can't really say too much else about it, but I'm getting close to finishing the inks on that. So I think we're shooting for a 2022 release. They like to release everything about a year ahead, so the book has to be done so they can promote it for a year before it gets out. And then with Source Point Press, I have Cthulhu Jr. coming out. And that was a Halloween Comics Fest back when we still had Halloween Comic Fest. That was one of those books. Yeah. And then I, like Franco and I have been working on, I worked on something with him, but then we've been working on other, I don't know, what would you say, Frank? More like books that are still comic books, but we're just kind of trying something different. So I can't really obviously talk too much about that. But
is this the one that we talked about, Franco?
No.
Okay, it's different. Franco's got, there's Franco and Scoot everywhere.
Yeah, that one I talked to you about. I don't think Scoot even knows about that other one, so don't tell him about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Scoot, just forget that. You didn't hear anything. These aren't the comics you're looking for.
Uh-oh.
There he is.
All right. I made it. My speakers decided to go out at the 57 mark of the hour. Like, I couldn't get them to work, so I had to reboot, and I'm back. So I missed the first few minutes of the show. I apologize, but I'm here for you. But I've been listening on my phone.
Oh,
so I'm not lost.
Yeah, Christy says the panel's over anyway. So
it's over.
Oh, good.
We only had to 110. So
I'm kind of like the surprise guy. I'm like the Avengers extra credit scene. You know.
Yeah. Where's your shawarma?
Mm-hmm. I got to cover my face because I have a beard.
All right. Well, you catch us up, Art. How you been doing, and what have you been doing throughout this whole pandemic?
Oh, I've been, you know what? I was kind of used to it because I've been quarantined since about 2003. First we had babies, and then I start working on Tiny Titans. So I rarely leave the house as it is. But the cool part about it was all the publishers slowed down, all the conventions slowed down. But I took advantage of all that downtime, and I got rid of a lot of my deadlines. So I have a whole bunch of books that are coming out between 21 and 22. And I just been making things, man. I just been so busy. I was working on around 7 or 8 books at one time. Now I'm working about 3 or 4. So I cut it in half.
Wow.
But it's working, yeah. And mostly it's just online presence, doing these videos like we're doing now. And I started my own little talk show, Famous Cartoonist Says Things, and just drawing online. And me and Franco and Johnny and Scoot do podcast with it goes up on I Like Pink Very Much, Lois, and we've just been doing stuff. It's just about the online presence and hustling. Don't let the pandemic pull you down. Take the positive and spin it and work it to your advantage, you know.
Oh, one thing, Artie, you forgot to mention, the real reason you kind of cut everything down is because you're trying to make more room for Harold's chicken.
No, yeah. There's always, you definitely need a day off for Harold's. It's like I take advice from The Rock, because The Rock was saying every day, like, he saves pie for Sunday, you know, pie and pancakes. So you work hard all week and then have that one day to celebrate. You congratulate yourself, award yourself, if you will, with some Harold's chicken or some late night boxing or just something like that. You know, you can need one day to reboot. Just like my computer had to do right now. Computer's like, I've been on for 2 weeks, dude. My speakers wouldn't work. So there you go. I'm good now.
All right.
But I've been listening to you guys while I was off. So it was good. Yeah. I heard you on my handy dandy trusty phone. Yeah.
Okay, on your trusty phone.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure people are curious. You know, Art and Franco, you kind of go together like, you know, peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah.
But how did you're like a Reese's cup. Just perfect. How did you guys like meet and decide you were gonna, you know, create this partnership?
We met at a convention, and we didn't really. I don't think Franco liked me much at the convention. He was irritated because there was a kid editing, criticizing his comics. So when Franco yelled at the kid and said, "If you don't like my book, leave. You don't have to buy it. Get out of here." And so
that's my sales pitch.
Yeah, and then I just arrived to my table and I heard him say that, and I said, "You sell a lot of comic books that way?" And so I irritated Franco right away, and then there was no one at this show, so we. At me, I'm like, "Can I see your books? What do you do? Let's trade books." And so after he just got ridiculed by this fan, I asked if I could read the books too. So he goes, "I don't care, just read them." So I read them and I think these are pretty cool. I said, "You want to trade? I'll trade you 5 of mine for 5 years." So we traded comics. And then at that time, I found out that I was only living 20 minutes from the guy's house, because for about 2.5 years, I lived on the East Coast. And we used to hang out and eat pizza and watch wrestling and bring sketchbooks and drawings in his basement. And that's kind of where it started. And then we both draw comics and do comic book conventions. We started jumping in the car together and doing all the same shows. And that was it. And it just like, we just started writing comics. We didn't decide to, it just happened. It just like, you know, we're writing down stuff and like, "Hey, look at this guy." And then Frank would say, "Yeah, what if he did this?" And I would say, "What if he did that?" And it's like, "Cool, then we'll put him in space." And yeah, that'll happen. So
the fun thing about hanging out was just all the laughs, you know, and we knew that the more we laughed, the funnier that we thought it should, you know, it is to us. We're like, it should be funny to somebody else. So then we started putting it down on paper, and we just went from there. So luckily people liked what we were doing, and then they eventually, you know, we've done the roller coaster up and down, where people. We were kicked out of catalogs. They weren't going to carry our books anymore. We were selling comic books out of the trunk of the car, hand to hand, in different bookstores, and just when we're like, maybe we're not going to do this anymore, we started selling books, and then after a while DC came calling, and then we did Tiny Titans, and then it just kind of snowballed from there, and we haven't stopped, really. We haven't stopped at all.
The DC phone call was like, we want you to do comic books like Patrick the Wolf Boy comic books, but for us with our characters. So I said, I know how to do that. And then that was it. That was kind of, we never really pitched the job to them. They kind of called. So that was kind of cool. Yeah. It was awesome. And then we just kept making comics. That was 2006, I think, when we started Tiny Titans. Yeah.
Wow, it seems like yesterday, man.
Yeah. 50 issues. We did 50 issues. It made the New York Times bestseller. We won 2 Eisner Awards. And then we moved on to Itty Bitty Hellboy, and that won an Eisner Award. So we have 3 Eisners. We have New York Times bestseller. We have a Harvey Award. So it's kind of like everything happened at once without really campaigning or trying or pitching series. We just like, people always tell me, Franco and our other friends tell me I'm like Forrest Gump. I just back into stuff and things happen. But it's all the hard work you see, like staying up all night and driving 12 hours to a convention and all these things. And I remember when Tiny Titans came out, we had a real long line of people, and people said, where were you guys? Where'd you guys come from? And I told them, so we've been in Artist Alley for the last 15 years. We've always been here. Like all of a sudden now we have a line. So that's kind of fun.
That's the joke. We always tell everybody it took us about 15 years to become an overnight success.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I was just going to say.
Mm-hmm.
15 years. That's all it took.
Yep.
I know the Beatles, it took them. They just had to open up the airplane door. That was it. They were successful.
That's it. They
didn't even get on Sullivan yet.
We didn't have an airplane. That's why.
That's right. We had to drive around.
We had to drive everywhere.
Van.
And then Scoot, how did you find these two? Or did they find you?
I don't know. It's kind of, a little bit of both, I guess, because I was always in Artist Alley too, doing cartoony stuff. And my story is pretty similar to Art and Franco's in the sense that I would always take my portfolio to these conventions and I'd be told I was too cartoony and I should do my own cartoony books. So I met I was working with a coworker at the time, Corey Barba, who worked with Art in Chicago at an animation studio, and he would talk about Art all the time. And then I kind of knew Art who Art and Franco were from the shows. And this is around the time that Tiny Titans really took off, 2007. And I would go to the shows and like talk to him. Well, then finally in like 2011 or something, I was working on a comic with Corey. And I handed it to Art and I said, we have a mutual friend, Corey Barba. And that's what Art like stopped. He's like, oh, he's a good man, sir.
Yeah,
and then he looked through my comic instead of just when I give it to him before, they'll kind of look at it and say, thanks, and just kind of put it back there. He actually looked at it and took it home. And then the next year I saw Franco wasn't there, but Art was there at Wizard World, Chicago. And Art remembered me and he was talking to me about, comics. And
then, when I saw you, I go, hey, Super Kings.
Yeah.
Super Kings guy.
Yeah, he remembered. So
yeah.
And that's how I got to, and then we found out I lived 4 hours away from Art and 9 hours away from Franco. So
right in between,
hang out all the time on Skype. So it worked out.
And then we said, let's, at that time, we were making comics. We had an idea to make the comics just for our own shops, So the weird part about the comics, the way it developed was we were painting the walls of the Skokie store. And I'm painting the walls and I'm drawing a big action cat because we had the mascot and everything, Action Cat Adventure Bug. I'm painting this thing and I'm thinking, man, we need to make comic books of this character. I mean, he needs to be more than just a mascot. He needs a story and comics so kids are going to want to read them. And so I thought, let's just make like Kinko's books, like black and white, like Artist Alley kind of mini comics. That's what I thought in my head. And then our friend Zod, he was there saying, well, why don't we do full color comics? And I'm like, well, I don't have any money to do that. And then he said, well, I could run a Kickstarter. I'm like, what? And then as we're painting the walls, I'm thinking, yeah, that's a good idea. So that's where it came to be. And I just thought about printing up books just to sell at our one store, but now there's 3 stores. And so all of a sudden our books they're in 3 comic shops, exclusives, But when we were making that, we went to the comic show, and that's when I met Scoot. And it just so happened to be Scoot came by, and I said, "Hey, Super Kings guy," and I said, "Hey, you want to make some comics?" And it started. The plan started forming. The team started to come together, and Scoot was one of the first recruits, one of the first guys to join, and that's just how it started. Everything we do.
Yeah, there were no guidelines or rules. I'm like, you sent me a character sheet with all the characters, and I'm like, well, who's this guy? What's he do? I don't know. Just do whatever you want.
Yeah, I said, draw whatever.
Yeah. Well, if you're not creative enough to figure it out, we don't want you in the book.
Yeah.
Well, I sent him a 22-page story about them trying to open a jar of pickles, which ended up in like issue 12 or something. Yeah. But at the beginning, they were like, "This is great, but we only need like a 1-pager or a 2-pager."
Yeah, don't go epic.
So I had to go back and make more comics. So then, I just started sending them like stacks of stories.
Like pages,
every week, I'd send them a new story. So
because we figured like each issue is only going to be about 28 pages, and I know if we let Scoot go, he would just fill up the whole book. And we're like, well, we need to be in it too. So at least give us 4 pages. We'll spread them out. But those comics were so much fun to do. And at the moment when we were thinking about making comics, we were working on Superman Family Adventures, and we really didn't have a lot of time to create our own stuff because the DC work was really coming in. We were under contract, so we had to do 2 books a month, and then we had to write a 3rd one or something. So we were working on Superman Family, and we were writing the Green Lantern books, and I was working on Super Pets. We did the animation for Super Pets at that time. Mm-hmm. So we're really
the
busy.
ones that were on Cartoon Network,
the Cartoon Network ones, Mm-hmm. And so it was perfect timing. And I don't know if the gods are listening. Baby Jesus is up there saying, "You've been praying to me for 25 years. I'm going to help you out." So Superman Family got canceled. It ended, and it was unexpected to us. But right when it got canceled, our Kickstarter launched like a week later, and the audience embraced it. Like they're like, "Yeah, man, go independent. You don't need them." And we're like, "Whoa, that's not what we intended." But that's what the vibe was online. So I think that that motivation progression kind of helped us launch the Kickstarter, and it was just cool. It was a good time. And then
Christy, you did some stories in there for us as well.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. Scoot was the artist. He did a Parallelogram.
Yeah, it was a cover story too. Art put it on the cover.
Art did the cover.
Yeah.
It is still one of my favorite things. People come in and get my Tales from the Crypt stories, and I'm like, "Oh, and look at this," and they're like, "That doesn't look creepy." I'm like, "No, but it's very punny."
Yeah, something for your kid. Yeah.
Every time I see Christy at a show, I do a sketch card of Parallelogram.
Every time, I love it, and I've missed them this year. I have all of these, and then just stop. It's like everything stopped.
You're gonna have to write another story now because we're doing more comics.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we are.
That's what I was gonna say about comics too. As like someone that was like brought into that world, I met Christy working on a story. I worked on a story that Brother Bear, Mark Hammond, wrote. Kurt Wood and I worked on stories together, and that's the first time I worked with Dave Scheid, who I work with all the time now on Wrapped Up and our other book coming out. So it was like a networking thing, like Justin Castaneda, all these people I met through comics, and I still talk to them, and
we're all friends. That's the weirdest part.
Alejandro Rosado.
Yeah.
I know that when you guys came down and were like, "Hey, do you want to be a part of our family?" We're like, "Yeah." Yes, we do. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you do.
Remember, when you came down, I still need painting on the walls of the new shop, but quarantine. But we were painting, and we had introduced you to tenderloins.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the Harold's Chicken of Muncie. Yeah.
Every time I would say, "Hey, Art," he'd go, "Oh yeah, tenderloin."
Tenderloin? What? Yeah, I'll go to Muncie.
It's 9 a.m. Art. They don't open till noon. Okay. He's like, "Oh, okay. Oh yeah, tenderloin." And I'm like, okay.
I know. I spent 3 days at Muncie painting the stores every day, and Kyle, your guy Kyle, would bring me a lunch from a different place every day, and it's so weird because I don't know what's going on outdoors. See, I don't know what's going on outside the doors of Comics in Muncie, but Kyle keeps delivering all this awesome food to me, and he goes, and he's real proud, he's like, "Here you go." And then I'm eating. He goes, "What do you think of the tenderloins?" I said, "These are great." And he goes, "Yeah, yeah." I said, and he's a big guy, so you got to trust a big guy when he says, "I'm going to go get lunch." I'm like, "Okay, dude, I'm going to leave it up to you." He's not going to disappoint. So that was awesome.
Muncie may not have a ton of stuff, but man, our tenderloins.
Yeah, you find them. I know it's worth the wait.
And now we have more restaurants. Our downtown has totally changed since you've been here. So
cool.
when all this is over, we're going to have a little. Well, when we do our Muncie Comic Con that we were going to do this last year, that of course, but when we do that, we'll have we'll bring you guys out and do a whole section, and we'll get tenderloins.
Oh yeah, we will. It's kind of fun because when we have like appearances at the store, or like we have a mini con in the store, and it's fun if it's just all of our friends, and even if nobody comes to the show, we still have a great time. We're gonna draw and stuff.
It's always a good time at the store. I miss coming up there and visiting, and the Harrison store is lovely. Also, I've only got to be there once, but
I just, that's the one thing I do miss is we have, when we talk to Brother Bear, Mark Hammond, about all this stuff, and with you, like well, we want to do a signing, and I would always say, yeah, but is it going to be the way? Like we need to do the way, So I miss having those get-togethers. Like I think one of the last big things we had at the Harrison store in New York was the Die Hard themed Christmas party, and I missed it. Like Mark is like, you have so many things to do. Why are we doing this? And I'm like, because it's fun. Like bloody footprints on the floor leading to broken glass in the corner, and Hans Gruber falling from Nakatomi Plaza every time someone opens the door. It's just a lot of fun. Like we had a Harry Potter party, and I literally made hundreds of candles and hung them from fishing wire from the ceiling. So when you walked in, there were hundreds of candles, and people were like, "When did you do that?" And I put them all up in an afternoon, the afternoon before the party. And I just I miss doing stuff like that. I miss going to the parties and stuff. Yeah. But COVID.
Yeah. We're getting there. We're getting to it's changed a lot, and it's changed, business. And I know I'm super proud of all three stores for hanging in there, because this has not been easy.
Me too.
It's when I'm like, ooh, it was just a 16-hour day today. Awesome.
I see you like working your butt off all the time. You're on camera all the time selling stuff. So I'm
we do in a comic shop.
Guys. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how we survived. We were doing, when we were closed down, it was 10 shows a week. And then now we're doing 5, but soon that will be 7. So, because I'm adding more for the experience we're doing. I'm honored that they asked me to be one of the people that come on here and sell alongside Jen and Jesse and Aaron and some other people. So, I mean,
so that's a big endeavor. What's this whole thing?
It's just kind of so it's gonna be selling comics, but the whole idea is to get people hopefully at some point it's going to be a 24-hour thing, just all about comics, and to get people to come into comic shops.
Yeah.
So here's what we have, and you can buy it from us. We're all comic shop owners, but look for here's the comic shop locator. Find exactly where things are. There's going to be game shows. There's going to be talk shows. We came up with the name What We Do in the Comic Shop for my show, which is totally awesome. And you, Franco, did the amazing art, which is little. Right, here we are.
You're like a vampire lady.
Yeah. It's awesome. We have T-shirts. We have pins. I'm sending you guys pins. You too, Art.
Oh, I need one. Yeah.
And Scoot, send me your address and I'll send some to you.
No, it's okay.
Did you say it's okay? Okay, fine. I won't give them to you. They're super awesome. Look at those.
Oh yeah, I do want that. Yeah. I put them on my art bag that I carry to conventions when I do go to conventions. So
thank 2023 we'll be back.
Exactly.
I'm going to interrupt for 1 second because Christy's too good at this to do the job that she needs to do. You guys can see Christy on the experience on Wednesdays and Saturdays
Mm.
You can see Scoot on episode 2 of our forthcoming talk show. That will his episode will debut the first week of February.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh.
So I'm gonna leave now, but somebody had to plug you guys because you're too nice to do it yourselves.
Oh yeah, man.
Awesome.
You're a good man, Kyle.
This is like a whole like QVC for
It's like
comics.
a QVC, and
Wow.
then I'm gonna do on my show. I'm super goofy. I mean, I wouldn't hang out with you guys if I wasn't, goofy.
We wouldn't let you if you weren't.
Yeah, and
You
so
would learn. You would learn goofy.
I'm doing like stories where I'm gonna do reading time, story time with the doctor, and where
Nice.
I'm gonna read the romance books. The older romance books.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Nice.
The Lois Lane books, where Superman, like unplugs her oxygen in space, and
Yeah.
that'll show her for not wanting to marry me, or when she's
Yeah.
marrying
Cool.
16 other people. And then, like, there's a really great Franco story in one of the horror books. It's just a tiny little story. It's so good. I'm going to read that, and I've got a little secrets behind the comics from Stan Lee, so I'm going to read stuff from here.
Nice.
And it's just going to be little 15-minute things with my Gandalf pipe, nothing will be in it, but it's still there. And then, unboxing videos, and just kind of the What We Do in the Comic Shop came from, as you all know, I'm a huge fan of What We Do in the Shadows. Like, it's the greatest thing in the world. So we're going to do things about what we do in the comic shop. Just like trying to, here's unpacking boxes, or here's getting ready for the show, or here's this, and just little 15 minutes, because, people, have short attention spans anymore, because there's so much out there, especially now, because virtual is all we have.
Yeah.
So little things like that. There's I know Source Point Press, which is my favorite. They're doing a little reality show, and Kyle's hosting a game show. There's going to be
Oh yeah.
Source Point Press Publishing.
Yeah, it's Source Point Press is awesome. I'm a little biased, but
Yeah,
but yeah, so it's going to be things like that. And I know there's going to be Jen's doing her Minute to Skim It with the new books, and there'll be sales, and so all sorts of things. That's going to start off smaller, because seeing what happens. And then there's going to be interviews. So I know there's some interviews that I've done that are going to be coming up. So, you guys, I'll hit you up for interviews here soon. And just so that people can have somewhere to go. Like, this is, you want to watch something about comics? Here you go. Here it is. You can watch a show. You can watch, a game show. You can watch a sales show. You can watch an interview. So all sorts of things like that. So we'll see what happens. It's kind of, throwing spaghetti against the wall. And
Yeah.
Jen and Jesse and Nick came up with this idea and asked myself and well, Kyle's pretty much the linchpin. He won't promote himself either, but he's the one who's putting all of it together and doing all the hard work in the midst of, COVID and surgeries. And yeah, he's pretty tough.
I know Kyle's the guy that we met him at C2E2, and I asked him if he liked MMA, and he said yeah, because there was an MMA fight that night. That was pay-per-view or something was going on, and I told him we should go to school, ditch this party, and just go into your room and let's watch MMA. And I just met him, and it's such a strange thing for tell a random stranger, let's just go get some drinks and go to your room and get pizza and stuff and watch. And so I think I might have scared him, but then Scoot told me that he was real happy. He goes, was he serious? Did he want to do that? Like, yeah, I would have. I even forgot who was fighting, but yeah, see, that really happened, right? Because I remember you're the guy.
I'd have been there. I'm always down for an adventure and for a story and for a good time. And Art's a good time, Franco's a good time, Scoot's a good time. So, like, hanging out with you guys, if it would have been, hey, what we're gonna do, we're gonna go knock over a liquor store, and then we're gonna go to Harold's. I'd have been like, all right.
Yeah, and then eat it in your room. That's what I wanted to do.
On your bed. On your bed.
On your bed.
Yeah, that was probably part of it too.
Yeah, that was probably. I probably went more detailed than I did right now. It's very colorful when I'm off camera. you know.
Yes, you are. You're colorful on camera. You're all sorts of colors.
Mm-hmm. I use the whole color.
Oh my gosh. You guys make my cheeks hurt when I'm around you because I laugh so hard.
That's good.
So, one of the great things about the Oh Yeah stores is that we have the original, the OG in Skokie. And Art, how did you end up in Chicago? Because you were on the East Coast, and then
I was born and raised Southside Chicago, and
Okay.
I lived on the East Coast for just over 2 years because I moved there to work in a Warner Brothers coloring book studio. So
Yeah.
I worked there. For
I like
a
to
little
tell
bit.
people. I like to tell people he moved here just so he can meet me.
Yeah.
yes,
So if I never moved there, I wouldn't have met Franco. So everything goes in order and leads to other events. Like if you squash that worm in the 1970s, something in the 1990s will not happen. So I made a worm. I don't know. Yeah, I never squashed worms, but I moved there to
No
work.
worms were harmed in any of this.
Yeah, so I took a risk that was around 97 maybe, because I know Sting, the Crow Sting, just came down from the rafters, and I missed the Wolfpack stuff because he was red paint, but I was in transition. I didn't have a TV, so I know I had to watch that later. That's how I know Wolfpack. That's how I know what year it was, because I missed his debut with the red and black. I'm like, oh, so that's when I was on the East Coast. I had a little apartment, I was struggling, eating peanut butter and cottage cheese every day, trying to stay alive.
I
And
hope not mixed together, right?
no, separate. No, one was lunch, one was dinner. So, but I worked in an coloring book studio. We did coloring books, children's books, activity books, worked on Bugs Bunny stuff and Mr. Potato Head and just random things. And so during that time, I met Franco. But when I left there, when I went to move there, I just took a risk. Let's just do this. I'm just going to do it. I had a warehouse job in Chicago that was awful. And so I moved out there and then eventually went homeless and had to come back home. So that's just what I took a risk as a artist. So I've always been Southside Chicago guy. I'm born and raised here. My whole family's here. I live here now still. But I have a house in the suburbs now, but I've always been a Chicago guy. So I don't know what the question was. Oh, Skokie. So being in Chicago, we have like the best show, like one of the best shows in the country is C2E2. So every year, all of my guys would come. Franco, Scoot, Brother Bear, you would come. Everyone would come. And so Brother Bear, I remember this, he would take, during the show, he would just go walk the city, just go. And at this time, he was just our buddy. He was just a guy we knew from Florida. So he would walk the city, and then he would tell me that he loves this. He loves Chicago. He would love to live here one day. I'm like, oh, that'd be cool. And so then one day, Tiny Titans came out. It was number 28 with Super Pets. And in the background of the comic book, I drew Brother Bear and Todd from the store in Florida, because we became friends with them because they flew us out to the store and we would hang out at MegaCon with them. I know this is a long story, but it's getting there. And so I called him up on the day. Hey, did you check out Tiny Titans number 28? And he went, no, what is it? I go, just read it. And then I hung up, and then he called me back. He goes, is that me and Todd in there getting stomped by a Titano? I go, yeah, that's you guys. And he goes, well, I actually said, oh no, watch out, giant monkey, whatever. And he's on the same panel as Clark Kent and Lois, and Dan DiDio is on that panel. It's a real cool. And so later on that day, he called me back again, but he was down in the dumps. Something happened to him that day. He had the most glorious day of having his comic, himself in a comic book, and then he went from down in the dumps. And then he said, I don't know, I can't take it no more. I can't do what I want to do at this comic shop. And then I said, something like, he said, man, I can't wait one day. I just want to own my own store. And I went, ding. And I went, wait, hold on. I'll call you back. So I called Franco and then hung up with Franco and told him what happened. And then Franco called Brother Bear and called him. And then Brother Bear called me back. Hey, I'm moving to Chicago. We're going to open up a comic shop in Chicago. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, you and Franco will be my partners. I'm like, okay. And that was it. And so he loves Chicago so much because he got used to walking around and just loves museums and a lakefront. And then one day at first I thought, all right, that's a good idea. Because a lot of us have brainstorms. So like, I'm going to take over the world. And then you go back to bed and nothing happens. But with Brother Bear, it kept going. So one day he showed up at my house. And then he says, I'm here to look for a location for the store. Like, and he's been doing research online. He knew where he wanted to go. So we went. And Skokie is way north of Chicago. It's probably the next, like Evanston is touching Chicago and Skokie's touching Evanston. So I'd never been to Skokie in my whole life. I've rarely been on the north side of Chicago because I was a south side guy. That's where Harold's Chicken is. That's where the White Sox are. That's where I do my shopping.
Everything's based on Harold's.
Yeah, everything's
so
on.
Long story short, the store is close to Harold's, which is why we opened it there.
Close, 2 blocks from Harold's. But anyway, we
There's a
drove
pop-up
around
store inside Harold's.
Yeah.
Brother even asked me, "What do you want? What do you imagine Aya Comics being?" And I told him, I imagine Aya Comics being in that town that Marty McFly was in, with the clock tower, and it's got to be on that street. And he's like, okay. So when we went to Skokie, we found a place that reminded me of that. It's the old downtown area of beautiful downtown Skokie. And we just picked a building and called the owner, and that was it. It just happened so fast. And it was so easy to do. All I had to do is sit back and wait for the phone to ring.
But it was years of you and I talking about it'd be real cool to own a store, but neither one of us could work at it, because we're just busy doing other things. So that day when Art calls me, he goes, "Hey, Brother Bear's thinking of leaving the store," and I'm like, "What?"
There's our guy.
Yeah, that was my next call. I'm like, I gotta go, and I called him, so it had to happen. Yeah, you gotta seize those opportunities when they come up.
Yeah. And I know we opened that store with we had nothing. We were still painting the walls, but once we got our certificate, the occupancy certificate, we hung it on the wall, unlocked the door, and we didn't have a cash register, but we had a calculator. And I remember the only merchandise we had was like a folding table with Star Wars figures on it, like those old green cards and orange cards they had. I had a bunch of those guys.
Yeah,
so
we filled the store basically with my comic collection because my son was getting older and he had some interest in comics, but not like us, and that's fine. He has other interests, but I'm like, why am I holding on to all these things? If I'm just going to have them in boxes. So Brother Bear drove from Florida with a big giant truck. He ran over my tree out here on my driveway when he backed into my driveway to take all my comics to go to Skokie. So that's how we actually got stock for the store. We had nothing when we opened it. So
that's the oldest tree in Pottersville. What are you talking about?
If you come to my house, next time you come to my house, there's a pine tree right in the corner of my driveway, and half of it is missing, and that's because Brother Bear took half of it off with the truck. So that's my reminder.
Yeah, it's so weird how we built it from bare bones, and it just, I don't know. No, but then it took about 3 months, or was it 3 months before we can order new books or something?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or 3 weeks. It happened pretty quick because Brother Bear's been, he knows everyone at the distributor, Diamond, from working at the Florida store, Acme Florida Superstore. He worked there for whatever it was, 20 years, however long it was.
Yeah.
But he built a relationship with the industry. So everyone kind of helped us out. So we didn't have to pass the credit test and all these weird things. So we got our comics pretty quick. But then, of course, we don't have money to buy them, so we only could get a few a week. So we got $20. All right, let's get these 4 books.
The hows and whys of things. We never really venture into that. We're just let's do it. Then we'll figure it out later.
Yeah.
And now we're going on.
Yeah, right.
When did we open? 2012, 2011.
7 years ago. 7, almost going on 8 years now.
Yeah,
in Skokie.
Wow.
Yep.
It's nuts. We gotta. The things that freak me out is like we have people working, and not only they're working, but we're paying them somehow. Like that's the part that you mean we're paying that guy to be there? Yeah. Like how? I don't know. That's the part. That's the part that's weird. Like, we got a guy. We have a schedule. We have employees. This guy works Monday. This one guy's Tuesday. This guy's Saturday. That's the part that's weird for me.
Yeah. Oh, well, all I know is I'm glad that happened because we wouldn't be without.
Yeah, you were the
And
Yeah,
Muncie's the second store, right? Or was Muncie the
Muncie
third?
was the second store.
second, yep.
And then we all got together and opened the one in
New York.
New
Yeah.
York. Yeah, that's right.
I don't
But
want
love
to.
that they're
I
all
like being in a world with
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I cut you.
Oh, I was just saying, I like the Marty McFly thing. I like the small town feel.
Yeah.
Muncie had that same little small town feel with the cute little downtown.
Yeah. And
so
same
it's-
with Harrison. You got
it's the
the
same
train
place.
across the street, the
Mhm.
bank down the
You
block.
guys got to come here now. They built an entire complex across the street. Remember how you could see everything was
Yeah.
wide open?
Yeah.
They built an entire complex. It's all apartments and
Oh my
stores
gosh.
and a parking garage. You can't see
Wow.
anything anymore except like all these buildings now. It's weird.
Is that one pizza restaurant still there we went to?
Yes.
Okay, good. As long as that's still there. We're good.
I know we got pizza, we got tenderloins, we got Harold, we got
Yes,
tacos
that's
and
how we're
Ohio.
picking locations on the food.
That's the secret. Yeah. So you gotta get that food.
You gotta
So-
get what specializes in the town.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna open one up in Ohio near Scoot so we could get Paco's hot dogs.
Tony Pacos, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Oh yeah, tacos. Mm-hmm.
exactly. Yeah,
And like it,
go ahead.
what you were saying, you like Franco said too, it's all about the Oh Yeah family being there. And like I always find myself too, as the cartooning career, venturing out, working for DC, Dark Horse, Archie Comics, Super Pets, and then it always like when you get downtime, you come back to your own characters and working on Oh Yeah comic stuff. Like I heard Franco say earlier, we're waiting for 3 books. They're getting printed. Oh Yeah, number 0, number 13, and number 14 are going to be arriving pretty soon.
Mhm.
They're going to be dropped off on our driveways. So I can't wait. So Muncie will have 3 new books pretty soon.
I'm so
I'll
excited.
send you some
Well,
books. Yeah.
one of your biggest fans made these little bracelets for me as a
Oh.
gift, and they're all in the colors
Oh,
of
it's awesome.
Yeah.
the characters.
Nice.
And there's Parallel Ham,
Oh, there it is.
but she made all of these for us and drew little pictures, so I have them all hanging up in the front. So the people you inspire, and it's like the kids, they're just drawn towards. I mean, I was like, did not expect it. Things they really hurt because they've got the little ends on them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And then you keep it on the outside.
she was here, and I'm like, okay, now I'm going to take my bloody stump of a hand off now. But I keep that because it's a really good. It's a good reminder of like how much kids. She didn't have to do that,
Mhm.
Right.
She's going to get her comics no matter what. So, but you guys really do inspire people, all 3 of you, just so much. And
Oh, yeah.
so thank you for what you do as a retailer. Thank you. As my partners, thank you.
I'm going to try to inspire you right now creatively. Like you need to expand the Parallelogram universe and take other farm animals and turn like a cow into a square or a sheep into a rhombus or something like that, or do a rectangle.
Are you up there,
rectangle
Scoop?
giraffe.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
We got to come up with some more puns.
Yeah.
Parallelogram.
That's the key. It's got to be
Mhm.
funny.
Yeah, exactly. It has
Parallel
to be
cow.
funny.
Yeah.
I every time I see Stink Up, this is a Stink Up. I just
Yeah.
I know it's there, but I still laugh. I'm like, this is so dumb, but I think it's so funny.
Well, everyone repels from the squirrel. They see a squirrel in front of the house. They go, "Oh, get away!" It's like a bumblebee. They see the bee and they all run away in terror. So
It's funny, Christy, that you say that because, like, occasionally, like, we work on so much stuff and we're so busy from day to day doing whatever it is that we're doing, retail, work, and all this other stuff. Occasionally, I'll pick up an issue that we wrote or we drew, and I'll read it and I'll start laughing, and I'm like, "Oh, this is funny. This
This is good stuff.
we did okay." I forgot I did that. That's funny.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, I read Itty Bitty Hellboy. I think some of the funniest stuff, and Grimace Island that we did. Grimace
I
Island.
love
was so
Grimace
funny.
Island. Yeah.
And it's just fun. Just making stuff is fun. And a lot of times when we're writing it, it's like, oh, this is dumb. No one's gonna like this. This is stupid. And then I read it back. Like you got to put it away and then bring it back out
Mhm.
and then read it. And it's like, oh, it is pretty good. You know.
I came across the big amiibo the other day.
Oh, did you?
Oh boy.
I was cleaning through some stuff, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I sat down. I'm like, "Oh, Rose! Oh, So
Yeah.
it was precious. I
Based
love
on the
it.
truth. Yeah, that was a good story.
Yeah.
I have 2 sequels to that I'm working on. That eventually I'll probably publish them on my own. And one of them's called Scraping Plastic, and it's like one of those, when you're so poor that your deodorant stick has gone down so much that all you're doing is scraping plastic on your armpit.
Yes.
Because you can't afford to buy a deodorant. That's what it symbolizes, scraping plastic. But it's a real fun story, and I got several, and I got another book called Imitating Art that I want to do. They're kind of sequels to that, but not direct sequels. But it stars me. They're autobiographical, so they're fun. I wrote those already, and it's real cool. So yeah, I can't wait to get those. But again, all of these things on the list.
Oh yeah. Well, you have so many, but I'm excited. All Yeah Comics is the comics are back, not All Yeah Comics. Really, but I'm glad that the All Yeah comics are back. And man, Scoot, seriously, your Parallel Ham is one of my favorites. I just dig it so much. I just giggle because it's just so ridiculously funny.
Yeah,
and you just brought it to life, and it's always fun seeing. Art, you don't do this as much because you create, and Franco, you draw and create, and you draw and create. But for those of us that don't have that, the ability to draw, which I'm extremely jealous of, seeing your character from somebody else is just like it's like having a baby, except less work. It's like
well, I can speak for these guys too. Probably it helps when you work with someone, and like when I was working with you on that one, Christy, and you had the story down, but you gave me freedom to kind of design things, and that's what makes it fun, because then it really feels like a collaboration. You're not just telling me how to do something specifically. You gave me the story, I understood the characters from the story, and then you gave me the freedom to kind of like set up the panels the way I thought made sense. So
well, and that's what makes comics so spectacular, is when you do have that collaboration, because that's what it is. As soon as you hand your story over to an artist, it's not your story anymore, it's both of your stories.
Yeah, together, right.
It's that's what makes it so special, and it's just super fun. I just love it.
I love seeing how other people draw Action Cat when we get stories from other creators too. It's just so much fun, and people always ask, is there a style guide? Should we draw them like you? I'm like, no, just draw it however you want, And then we say no origin stories, just. No, don't add anything new to him. Just make it whatever. So it's kind of cool to see what people come up with too with Action Cat.
Well, I know Grace actually was starting to. My daughter was starting to draw. Who also, you want to feel old? She has a baby now.
I know, she's a new mom.
Yeah,
he's almost a year old.
Yeah,
crazy. And he is.
Congratulations, Grandma.
Thank you.
Now you're doctor, Grandma Chris.
He actually he's going to call me doctor because
awesome.
We're going on. So there's too many connotations with that.
Well, now you have to get a TARDIS.
I want a life-size one, and we're going to get little matching shirts. Mine's going to say the doctor, and his is going to say the companion.
That's awesome.
He's the biggest nerd already. Every time he sees me, he crawls over to his baby Yoda because he always play with the Grogu. Excuse me.
Grogu,
But he's.
Does he have hair yet? Is he still bald?
No, he's still bald.
Oh,
Grace
awesome.
was bald until she was like 2.5. So.
Awesome.
Oh, I was going to say till last year, but yeah.
I don't know. She's just pulling her hair out. But it is funny how she'll just call me and apologize for things, because I'll go, hey, can you imagine him being out all night, not knowing where he is? And she'll just start crying. Oh my gosh. It's very fun. What time is it? We need to start letting people know where they can find you and your work, your podcast, your catch-up podcast. We must not miss that. So sorry.
It's all good. All things Franco, blindwolfstudios.com. I'm Franco on Facebook. Franco on Instagram and Twitter. The Catching Up with Franco. Scoot was on last night, but I'm going to have everybody on. I'd like you guys to come on at some point, where we just talk about silly stuff. That's going to be live streaming on Facebook, on YouTube. We have the All Yeah Comics channel on YouTube. Art's videos go up there. My videos go up there. And we got a whole bunch of stuff that goes up there that you could see.
Yeah, that's all true.
Oh, head over to the everybody that's watching. There's a little bit.ly X guests there, and you can. I'm like, where is it now? Where is it now? Thank you, Scoot. Follow the bouncing Scoot. And you can go there and you can shop. There are links for everybody there. So for Scoot, for Frank, I'm the wrong way. Franco, Scoot, and Art. You can get links and you can get things from them. So you can go there. But Scoot, where can we find you?
You can find me at Scoot Comics on Twitter and Instagram, and scootcomics.com if you want to just take a look at my work, and scootcomics.bigcartel.com if you want to buy some drawings I've done recently. Otherwise, you can get my books wherever, Amazon, Sammy the Samurai Squirrels at Barnes & Noble and Target and all those places online. So,
and at your local comic shops.
Of course, that goes without saying. Oh yeah, comics too.
Oh yeah,
comics.
Yeah.
Especially.
We have a whole little section for and it's beautiful.
That's awesome.
And Artie.
I'm everywhere you need to be on the internet. I'm on everything. But the best probably way to find me is artbaltazar.com. Under my links, I have YouTube, I have t-shirts, I have Facebook, I have Twitter, Instagram, I even IMDb page. So I'm all over the place. So if you just go to artbaltazar.com, and I have things for sale. I have an eBay store. I have a lot of stuff. And I do the Famous Cartoonist Says Things videos, like usually Monday through Friday, and around noon Chicago time. So I'm on my online presence is all over the place. So if you could Google me, just put my name, you'll find me. Yeah, it's all true. I would never lie to you either. I'm like Superman.
True story.
Don't lie. Yeah. True story.
Superman is a jerk in Lois Comics. I just want to say though.
Yeah, he's frustrated. The girl won't. You got to tell a woman how you feel, and you'll get your answers. It's like, hey, I really would like a relationship with you, and she'll tell you.
Yeah.
That's what he doesn't do. He tries to impress her. Here, I brought you a camel. I brought you a horse. How about a lunch? I brought you flowers from Africa. She's like, oh, what's he want? See, you got to tell her what he wants. You got to say, hey, baby, I just want to go dancing.
See, this is why it's fun working with this crew. This is it.
And if all of you out there, if you've never watched a live video of somebody drawing, or even if you haven't seen these three, it's a completely different experience. Just the sound effects and and everything that goes into it. It's so entertaining. It's some of the best TV that's on.
And if you want to see us get yelled at, tune into the Oh Yeah podcast with also Mike Nagan and Mike Campobasso, Skokie Spidey are also on there with us. And get yelled at. Yeah.
Our crew is ever expanding all the time. And it's kind of cool. Like, we never know who's going to end up in the crew next. We'll probably get a few guys this year. We'll probably gain some people. And it's always, we always meet people like at conventions. That's how we met Kurt Wood. I saw Kurt Wood hovering in front of my table at the end.
Literally, he was hovering. Yeah,
he was like, and I said, hey, man, you hungry? Yes. Want to go get hot dogs with me and my friends? Yes. And I said, come on. And that was it. That's how we met, kind of. I knew him from Artist Alley, but I brought him into the group. And then it was kind of cool. Like, I brought him and I didn't have to talk to him. He just talked to everybody and we all became friends. And that's kind of how it happens. Or we meet guys who come to the comic shop, like Michael Campobasso, who would come to our store dressed as Spider-Man. Now he's on our podcast. So I don't know, like, things happen. So I don't know who we're gonna get next, but I know it'll be someone else. And the coolest part about that, like when we do a podcast and I can't show up, I'm not missed. We have enough guys. and I watch it.
You're always missed, Art.
Thank you.
Well, we need to wrap up because there's more people coming up. But,
have fun.
Wrapped up, exactly. Oh, that was good. See,
we got this too.
Brilliant.
If you're a fan of me, I send this to you. It's a
Buy these books. Buy these books.
Buy these books.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Art, Franco, Scoot. You guys are the best. Everybody, stay tuned for more stuff with the experience. We'll see y'all later.